Hello, and welcome to the Hope Unlocked podcast. I'm your host, Kristin Kurtz, and I'm also the founder of New Wings Coaching, where I empower and unlock women to soar in their calling and roar with their voices. If you're curious to learn more about how coaching can help you unlock your potential, be sure to explore the show notes for ways to connect with me further. Get ready to dive in as we uncover empowering keys and insights in this episode. So tune in and let's unlock hope together. This must be a really important message, partly because I really didn't feel like doing this today. So what did you say? Have you ever been talking to somebody before and the words that you say are so revelatory and you're like, oh my gosh, I didn't even know that was a thing? Or if you're talking to somebody and you actually say something for them, but it's actually for you. This is something I actually have termed a boomerang. I had a time a couple years ago, I was talking to a friend of mine and I like said something to her and it just came back around. It was like, oh my gosh, that was for me too. So do you often take note of what you say? Do you take note of your thoughts? Do you take note of things that are going on with you in and throughout your day? I do. But what I've noticed is when you get around people and you're able to process with people at times. I happen to be a coach and I have other coach friends where I can process and they can ask me questions that are very, it grabs onto things in a way that you can't do on your own. So this morning I was in Numbers and just being reminded of Joshua and Caleb and how, they were two of the 12 spies who were sent in to check out the promised land. And they were the two that didn't come back with a bad report. So what I was really getting revelation about this morning, and it's sitting with me today, is that I wonder about the other 12. Were they talking to people? Were they talking to each other? Or were they just letting their own thoughts of fear rule, which caused them to turn around and come back with a bad report? Whereas 2 of the 12 were like, oh no, we're going to go in. We're going to conquer. We're going to do the thing that we're here for. And I just had this, this vision of Caleb and Joshua, having a conversation together, in essence, kind of coaching each other. Well, what would keep you from going in? Or, if there were some fearful thoughts coming up of what's going to stop you from going in? And they were just cheering each other on, helping keep each other, moving forward. And I think that, I was on a call today with a client and just being reminded in the power of having somebody in your corner who reminds you of your but God said, not the but what if, like the other 10 spies. They were doing the but what ifs. They weren't being reminded of the but God, I can't say it. They weren't being reminded of the but God said because that was a promised land. They were just looking at the giants. Caleb and Joshua were reminded of the but God said, and they saw the giants, and yet they kept going forward. So I just imagined them having this, like what I do with my clients, having this conversation, a coaching conversation, okay, we're going in, we're going to keep going. And that's what I feel like there's just not enough of you out there. My heart just burns for those of you out there who have something in you. You have something in you. You're called to step out and do something stretchy. It's powerful. It's going to set others free to do what they're called to do. And yet you're just sitting on the sidelines. And that's where you need somebody like me. And if it's not like me, if it's not me, it's somebody else. For me, the way that I coach women, we dig for gold and we draw out words, we draw out next steps, we draw out the importance of your stepping out because it's so beyond you. So I just want to remind you of that. Same thing with Moses. Moses had Aaron and Hur. And I was reminded of that today along with Caleb and Joshua, like they had each other, and both of them came back with the same report that they were going to go in. They were not going to let fear stop them, right? I mean, I get so fired up because, I've walked some really challenging roads, and I have been freed from Egypt, and I know that there's so many more of you out there that there's areas of your life that are like Egypt, and you need to get free. And sometimes it takes somebody who's got keys of revelation to help you to step out and do the thing, and to keep your eye on the promised land, keep your eye on what God said, not what the people around you, I like to call them, there's people around you. I've got those people, the but what if people, the like Job's friends people, those people, they're well-meaning. They're well-meaning. So if you have people in your corner who are like, but what if, what if that doesn't work out? Or, that doesn't make sense. But you've got a word from God, or you've got your next steps from him. You need somebody who's going to come alongside you and help you to keep moving. Take one step at a time, get that next step, take it, have somebody in your corner. I'm that girl in the corner, but I'm not for everybody. I'll preface that. The women that I'm called to work with tend to be kind of the wild ones. They are the ones who are willing to do that which a lot of people aren't willing to do. I was even getting on here, I was reminded of Top Gun, the movie Top Gun. He called me to be a flight attendant, but I really feel like I'm called to the ones that are willing to go in where others won't go. And I would attribute that to the Joshua and Caleb's, but some of you just don't have that person in your corner who will help you keep going forward, because you're called to the front lines. I like to say, get off the sidelines. You're called to the front lines. People are waiting for your yes, and it is so beyond you. It's not about you. It is, but it isn't. I get really fired up about this. Can you tell? So, when I think about the women that I'm called to work with, I literally see so many women in cages of complacency, whether it's working a job that is so out of alignment because they're just thinking that the paycheck is what they need, and they need their 401k, and they need benefits and all the things. But I also see women whose voices are really locked up, and they need to come out of the cage, and they need to release their sound, because people are waiting on you to come out of the cage. Just think of like an eagle. I love eagles, if you guys know me. My business name is New Wings Coaching, and I just see way too many, just when I think about these women, like their wings are literally clipped. So if that sounds like you, it's time to come out of the cage, and I have some keys to help you. But you're going to have to reach out. So there's that. Be a Joshua and a Caleb. Don't be the other 10 that turned around and cowered in fear. It's not a time for that. It just isn't. So this is my calling you up. Did you hear what you said? Have you heard what you've said? Because when I have conversations with people in coaching, I literally grab what you say, and it becomes like ignition for your fuel as you're launching. Truly. Like I've seen it time and time and time again for the last 7 years I've been doing this. I had a call, like I said, I had a call today. I'm so fired up. It's unbelievable. And I know there's more of you out there. You just haven't even taken that step forward to reach out and even ask what it might look like to coach with me. And that's okay. Because like I said, I'm not for everybody, and everybody's not for me. But for those of you who are having a stirring that you need like a spiritual midwife to birth what's in you, let me be that one for you. I have testimonials on my website if you want to check them out. Those are usually the best way to figure out what I do, because I get to come alongside and then somebody testifies to their experience rather than me try to explain what this is, because it is very different. I'll leave it at that. So, like I said, be a Joshua and a Caleb. If you're not going to get a coach, take time to hear what you're saying. Take time to hear your thoughts. Take time to slow down and actually listen to yourself. Truly. Anyways, I'm a safe space. I am an expert in listening and an expert in helping you to soar with new wings. So take care. Bye.